Hey guys, what's up everyone? Welcome back to a new video. With this video I want to introduce a new tutorial series in which we will learn TypeScript together. Now, why learning TypeScript and what TypeScript is and so on and so forth, I will cover that in a second. Just a little bit of an overview over how this tutorial series will work up front and also why I decided to learn TypeScript, just to give you a little bit of a heads up here. Now, if you don't know me, I'm Stefan. I'm running this channel. I create beginner-friendly tutorials on programming, web development, Linux, ethical hacking, and other fun stuff. And I'm a self-taught developer, and I decided to learn TypeScript, or to start learning TypeScript, about 2 weeks ago after putting that off for far too long. I have a couple of friends who are working for larger companies as senior developers, and as I was talking to them in the past couple of weeks and months, they convinced me to give TypeScript a try. Now, I haven't looked into TypeScript earlier because the general consensus was on YouTube and from other programming content creators that you don't really need TypeScript if you are like a freelancer or you're working only on side projects, smaller projects, and so on. And the TypeScript is more like a language that you use in larger teams or when you work in larger code bases and stuff like this. So this kept me off in the past from learning TypeScript, but now that I'm actually actively looking for some developer positions to expand on my coding skills, and just because I want to mix things up from the self-employment route to just work with a team a little bit again, I found, at least here in Germany, and almost each and every job description is written that either TypeScript is straight up a requirement, or at least it's listed as a bonus, nice to have thing to know TypeScript. Which, if you think about it, of course, if you apply for a position and you don't know TypeScript, the other person knows TypeScript, he probably has a slight edge over you. And also, after talking to a lot of my developer friends who are using TypeScript, who learned TypeScript, they actually never went back to classical or vanilla JavaScript because they like TypeScript so much, and they say it's a much better language than vanilla JavaScript. And once you understand and learn TypeScript, that probably makes sense to you. That's at least what they said. And I have to say, now, after 2 weeks of using almost exclusively TypeScript in my own projects, I have to say I start to see the benefits of it, especially when it comes to static typing and stuff like this, where you just see the errors right there in your VS Code rather than searching for them after you run your code or you build your project. So that makes a lot of sense to me, I think. It's a little bit extra code that you write, but I think the work that it saves you in the end is well worth it. Now, this will be a multi-part tutorial series. I will separate this series so we cover each topic in a separate video. I want to do this because I want to make this mini course, free course, ADHD friendly, and I want to make it accessible for beginners, that you can take it step by step and just consume the content in smaller chunks, which I think makes it easier to learn and stay motivated. At the end of that, I will also go ahead and create a crash course. When we are done with the series, with the multi-video part series, I will go ahead and create a TypeScript crash course that kind of summarizes all of what we learned. Now, keep in mind, keep a beginner mindset. I'm still a beginner with TypeScript. I'm still a beginner when it comes to programming, probably. I would still consider myself that. So if you see any kind of errors in my teaching or in what I tell you, I cross-reference and double-check everything that I write multiple times usually. But if you find any errors, feel free to point them out to me in the comments. Also, let me know in the comments below what you think about this video series. If you're excited for it, definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel, because I will publish all of those videos in numeric order, and I will put them in a separate playlist as well for easy access for you guys. Sorry, that was a bit long of an introduction here, but I felt like I need to kind of make clear where we're going with the series, and I want to also take this as kind of a accountability thing for myself, that I will push through with my TypeScript learning, and that I will really go forward and learn TypeScript with you guys together. So together we're in this. That being said, let's have a look, and this first video will just give you an overview over why TypeScript, what TypeScript is, and what else you need to follow along with this free mini course here on YouTube. All right, guys, let's dive into TypeScript. If you are a regular on this channel, you already know how I like to produce and deliver my content. But for everybody who is new here, I just want to give a quick heads up on how we are going to work with this TypeScript course. And the way we are going to do it is I usually always provide a written article that goes along with the video so that you can easily go ahead and look at the code while you're following through with the video. And also you can take your time and read through the article or read through certain parts over and over again if you don't understand them. And the most convenient thing is, of course, that you can just go ahead and copy and paste some code. So if you go on my blog, cosec.com, I of course leave the link to the corresponding articles in the video description below for you for easy access. But if you go there manually and you click to learn or learn, and then you choose TypeScript or any other language that you're interested in learning, then you will end up on the TypeScript category. And in here, there's always an overview up top, which shows you all of the published articles so far. So far, there are not that many because I'm just in the process of producing them. But for this particular video, there would be the TypeScript overview article that corresponds with this video. And if you pull that up, you can see that you can comfortably go ahead and look at the code or just go ahead and copy and paste portions of the code to play around with it. One more thing to mention is that we are also using Repl.it for this whole tutorial series. Sometimes we use the TypeScript playground as well, but most of the time we are going to use Repl.it. And we simply use Repl.it because it makes for easy access to the code that we are looking at. So you can easily go ahead and pull up a certain repository. You don't need to clone anything with GitHub or something like this. You just go to Repl.it, you click on my account, or of course I leave the link in the article as well. And then you go to cosec in here. And then you want to choose the corresponding folder, which is TypeScript in our case. And then there is a TypeScript overview file, which always has the same name as the topic that we cover in the article. And if you open that up, you can go ahead and start coding. Now, of course, this is empty because we are just going to create it right now as we are working through this video. So before I show you some code examples here, let's quickly actually talk about what is TypeScript. So TypeScript is a popular programming language that was developed by Microsoft. It is a statically typed superset of JavaScript that, after it runs through the compiler, compiles down to plain JavaScript code. I'm going to show you this in a second, how that looks like. We can use the TypeScript playground for this. TypeScript adds optional static typing, classes, and interfaces to JavaScript, providing developers with a more structured and organized way to write code. Now let's dive in. Like, what does static type checking or static checking actually mean in TypeScript? So that's one of the key features of TypeScript, that's static checking. And this means that TypeScript can catch errors in your code before it is run, as opposed to dynamic checking, which is done at runtime in JavaScript. That means you will see an error, which I'm going to show you here in a second. We're just gonna define some variables. Let's say let test equals string or a hello, let's say hello. And this is default vanilla JavaScript here, and we don't see any errors. And if we don't declare a type here, there is something called type inference, which automatically sets this type to a string, as you can see when you hover over there. More on that later, but just so you know. If we now want to go ahead and we want to set test to another, let's say string, we want to set test to hey. TypeScript doesn't complain, doesn't tell us anything, and if we run the code, let's do a quick console.log test, it will print the word or the string hey. There we go. So this is all fine, but what if we want to go ahead and now we want to say test equals the number 4? Then we get a squiggly line under here, and it tells us that the type number is not assignable to type string because it assigns the actual variable to the type of string automatically. This is called type inference, and I will talk more about this later, don't worry about it now, but just that you see what this static checking in TypeScript means. It means that the types are checked right when you write the code, so you directly can catch the error here. Now this wouldn't happen in JavaScript, in vanilla JavaScript. You wouldn't get this notification here. You could actually go ahead and set this to number 4, even it is a string. To demonstrate it to you a little bit better, let's go ahead and create a new file here. You don't need to do this. You don't need to create any file at this moment. I'm just going ahead and creating a JavaScript file to show you what I mean. So if I go ahead and copy this exact code over into the JavaScript file and I go ahead and save it and run it, first you see we don't get any error here. And it's actually setting the value of test to the number of 4. So you can see there is no static checking, of course, in a classical JavaScript. So how do you actually set types manually, which is the whole point of using TypeScript? So I'm going to delete this example and I'm just gonna make a new comment here and we say manually setting types. And again, you can open up this Replit right after watching the video. While you're watching the video, actually, before you start to watch this video, you can open up this REPL and just play around with the code yourself. So let's say we want to define a variable with a type. Let's say we do let count and we want it to be a number. Now we do let count colon and then the type that we want to assign to it afterwards. And then we do our equal like we would do it normally, and then we add it to, or we assign it the number 5. Now in this example, we define the variable count with the type of number. It should be pretty easy to get, pretty easy to understand. We can also go ahead and do the same thing for let last name and assign that to a string, which is of course then a string value here. We set that to powers, whatever. And of course you can also do a is married and make that a boolean and we say true, something like this. Don't worry at all if this looks confusing to you right now. We will cover all of these things in depth in following videos. This video should just really serve as an overview and as a starting point of this tutorial series, so I won't go in depth in any of those topics. Just want to show you one more thing. When we, for example, compare TypeScript with JavaScript, which we can do at TypeScript Playground, at the TypeScript Playground. So you go to TypeScript language org, and then you go to the playground here. There are a bunch of examples that you can look at when it comes to TypeScript. For this example here, this is a great example to use. If you look at this, there's a bunch of TypeScript code, and don't worry if you don't understand it at this moment. It's not important at all. I only want to show you how that compiles down to JavaScript so that you get an idea what that actually means. So interfaces don't exist in JavaScript. It's a TypeScript thing, same as setting those types like we do here. And we can actually see what it compiles down to. So on the left side here, we have TypeScript. And this is what it looks like when you compile it into JavaScript. So you can see it's much less code actually. But on the other hand, we have the strongly typed language here, which then compiles it down to less code, which is great. So you can see that this really shows you that it's very, very useful to have those types set in your code, especially if you work together with a larger team, with other people, or even if you just come back to your own code later on and you directly see that first name is a string, last name is a string, and age is a number. This can be very, very useful to quickly get back into some old code that you have written a while ago or stuff like this. Now to sum this up for you guys, why do we actually use TypeScript? Now TypeScript offers several benefits to developers that make it a popular choice for many projects. One of the main reasons is that it allows for better code organization and maintainability, making it easier to write and maintain large-scale applications. It also offers a smoother development experience as errors are caught early in the development process and autocomplete features help to speed up coding. There are some key features of TypeScript that I want to also share with you guys. That is, of course, it's a statically typed language, so TypeScript provides static typing, allowing for early error detection and improved code consistency, which we have seen already. It's compatible with JavaScript, so TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript, meaning you can use it with existing JavaScript code. It's a object-oriented language, so TypeScript supports classes and interfaces, making it ideal for object-oriented programming. And of course, it comes with tooling support. It comes with various tools that can help with code navigation, refactoring, and debugging. So to summarize, guys, I really recommend you work through this article. There's a little bit more information there, and also play around with the Replit repository that we have just created. Write your own TypeScript, just play around with it a bit, get warm with it, and then in the next video we will pick up on the next topic, which we can look at right now, which will be the next video that will be released. I think it's type annotation, or actually TypeScript installation and VS Code setup. I don't think you really need that, but I provide a video on it anyway. It's just a very quick one, and then we go ahead with TypeScript type annotation and TypeScript functions. The next videos will be much shorter than this one. As I said, introduction takes more time and so on and so forth. So be ready for it. I hope you like this. If you like it, make sure to subscribe to the channel that you don't miss out when I publish a new video. I also share it over on Twitter every time I do publish something. You can sign up for the newsletter here, for the free email series, where I will always send an email out when I publish or release a new video or article. And you can catch me over on Twitter with @StefanRose. I hope to see you in the series, guys. Let's tackle this. Let's learn TypeScript together, and let's make it a fun journey. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one.